So the job closing for 2025. This is a must we get into. Macy's is closing 65 locations by the end of 2024, which, as of this recording, is next week. Walmart. Walmart is closing 6 locations so far. Walgreens, Staples stores, my guy, closing 1,200 stores are closing. By the end of 2027, well, they're closing 500 for next year, and by the end of 2027, there will be 1,200 stores closed. Starbucks, staples of Starbucks, closing several locations. Dollar Tree is closing, period. Office Depot closing all stores. Party Central shutting down, permanently closing after 40 years. Foot Locker is closing over 400 locations. CVS, pharmaceutical giant, is closing hundreds of stores by 2025. Sears is closing its last remaining stores. GameStop is closing many locations. Advance Auto Parts closing several locations. Ray, talk to the people. Tell them who you are. We're going to talk about this. Let's get into it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks, Storm. As you mentioned, we've been knowing each other a long time, back from the music business, even through the technology boom and still boom. I was going to say boom and bust. It boomed and busted, and it is booming again, which I think is a large part of what we're getting ready to talk to, is how technology, as Mark Andreessen said, back in 1992, technology is eating the world, or software. I think where software is going to eat the world, and we're starting to see it now. We've seen it, but now it's starting to creep off the computer screens and start really affecting the real world. We saw it starting in the 90s with ATMs, with tellers, right? Banks are simply open, I think, because there's a law that says, they have to have like a door. So they have like one person in the bank now. And we're starting to see that with not doctors, but with, banks, with a lot of places where we used to go in, where a lot of jobs, the tellers at stores, starting to go away. Remember, you used to be able to get somebody to help you. You walk into a store and someone would say, "Hey, sir, hi, sir, may I help you with something?" And now those days have gone away. So the reality is that I think we can say Amazon won, right? They just won. They beat the whole world with their model of, you can get something less expensively. You can get something less expensively through Amazon and have it delivered to your door, as opposed to paying more and having to go into a store to buy it. Shopping has become more of a social activity than something you have to do to get anything. And it's been like that for 10 years. And I think that was accelerated during the pandemic, when people started to really change their behavior as a group and started to say, hey, this is cool. A lot of people who had never ordered anything online, I know there was a while where there were certain things I wouldn't order online. I wouldn't order food. You had to, right? It got to a point where if you want, the restaurants weren't opening their doors, it was delivery only. And so you got used to it. You say, it's okay. It's not too bad. And so, that has carried over. And so a lot of those stores now that depended on foot traffic are saying, hey, we're spending $10 a square foot to rent this building. We can save that money and just go straight online.
So what you're saying, Ray, which I agree 1,000%. COVID kind of laid out the test model to see could this thing grow and work on a large scale, right, across the world. And actually, it showed it could. It actually showed it, being that this could be profitable. It actually groomed us and taught us to do something different. So now you made great valid points on the direction of what it is. So let's talk about something else along the lines of that. With these jobs closing, for me, I've been saying for a long time, just out loud and to myself, one of the main reasons I sold 31 of my properties is because they are in areas that grew dependent of these type of jobs. And
Mm,
last year was a year where I lost $100,000 in money in real estate. That has never happened. I've been in real estate since 1999, buying my first property and buying out of state for almost 10 years. But what happened was when COVID hit, most of these kind of jobs were jeopardized. And now I'm sitting there, got to sympathize with them, and work with people because they don't have a job, but the banks ain't working with us with our mortgages for us not to pay these mortgages. And I
right.
said to myself, this shit ain't cool. Now, once the courts were backed up, and when people were able to go back to work, the people
Mhm.
with jobs got their jobs. They said, shit, I ain't pay you in this long. I don't plan on paying you now because the courts were so backed up. They had a year, 2 years worth of not paying you rent, keeping that money. And a lot of them just said, you know what, I'm going to move. So a lot of landlords, and I know many of them, and I'm talking all types of landlord friendly states, they were not immune to what happened. So
Yeah.
I said to myself recently, I said, you know what, Storm? If you see jobs going the way that they're going, and now this is a prime example of showing everybody, of people witnessing for themselves, these corporations don't need us. What they needed was time to build out a better business model on how technology would take over. Now, this business model is created, thousands of jobs are going to be gone. And what does that speak for landlords? And all my landlords out there, you need to be evaluating what the next 5 to 10 years look like. What does your area consist of people who paying you rent? And I said to myself, I'm selling all of these properties because programs are going to be the dominant thing. All of these people losing jobs, what you think they're going to get on? Some kind of program, some
They
kind of
gonna
housing program, some kind of government program, some kind of subsidized. And there's a reason why big corporations were buying all of these homes. Because when the government says we're going to start paying a rent for hundreds of thousands of people, they're going to reach out to BlackRock and Vanguard and say, well, you know what? We need 100,000 houses. Who got it? We're going to pay the rent directly to you. And now they're going to be getting guaranteed rent from these tenants. And I didn't want to be involved in the housing in these areas anymore. So that's why I sold 31 properties. But real quick, also, Ray, what does that impact look like for crime?
Oh God. I think just whenever the economy is bad, crime goes up. I mean, people got to eat. You tell somebody they can't eat, they're gonna do what they got to do. And so as the economy starts to get worse, people are gonna eat. But I'm optimistic only because
Oh, yeah, this is where me and Ray, when he get optimistic, I'll be
I'm,
that guy on the other side. But go ahead, Ray, let's do it. Let's do
I'm,
it. This is
I'm
why we here.
there's always reason for optimism as long as we got breath in our lungs, right? That's what I look at it. And there's opportunity, right? So where one door closes, a window opens. So the hustlers, right? The challenge was in the 90s, 80s, 90s, right? When the economy got bad before, there weren't any opportunities, right? You're 19 years old and you don't have a college degree, you don't have a high school degree, you 10th grade dropout, right? In Brooklyn, right? 10th grade dropout in Brooklyn. What you gonna do? Legal and make $100,000, right? But today, you're a 19-year-old 10th grade dropout. Can you make $100,000? Yeah, and so there are opportunities.
Examples, though. No, you can't leave that like that. How? You got to
Well,
give examples
absolutely.
because you got a
There's
19-year-old right now
yeah,
listening to you.
you
Tell me
can
how.
set up your own. You can set up because now there's no stores, right? There's no party city. You can sell freaking balloons out of your apartment, right? Out in front of your house, right? You need balloons, like the old Candy Lady back when we were coming up, right? Candy Lady. You can sell balloons. You can sell Halloween costumes, right? Online. You set up a Wix site and sell Halloween costumes with a little bit of investment. Matter of fact, you don't need much investment at all. You can just resell from Amazon. And so, I think that if
You
you
want
are,
them, you want them to buy from the plug and sell when people could get directly to the plug themselves.
yes, because people are always going to need, I think, just like drugs, right? You could get
Drugs
drugs
and Amazon is two different things, but go ahead.
in a way, but in a way not, right? If you need it, you can get it, right? But you need somebody to curate it to make sure that it's good, to make sure that it is there somebody a trusted advisor, right? So you can be a trusted advisor in this space, just like we've done, for dozens of years. It just was really hard to do because you had to buy a lot of inventory. That was a stopper. You had to have space. If you wanted to be an entrepreneur in the 90s, you had to have a storefront. You had to have, warehouse. You had to have $100,000 worth of inventory. Um, Now, all you need is a website, a $10 website that you can curate and sell things. You don't even have to have your own website. You can do it
No,
through
I got to
Amazon.
push back again.
Okay, sure.
I got to push back, right?
Go ahead.
See, when we keep thinking in our era, and I had this conversation with a good friend of mine, we failed to see what the next generations after us, like between me and you, there are three generations after us,
Sure.
right? There's there's like the 30-year-olds, there's the 20-year-olds, then there's the teens. So when you say words like website, you're talking about our generation. The generations after us are not going to no websites.
Okay.
They're on their devices. They're not typing in www. They're not clicking apps. They're going straight into Amazon's. They're going straight into, so, creating a website, building a website. Me personally, I don't believe that exists anymore. That
Mm.
that's not a driving force to sell if you're not a known brand where people are gonna go look for you. Like if you're known, they're gonna go, oh man, Ray, I'm going to rayabrams.com. But if they
Mhm.
want to go look for something, they're going to type in balloons, they're going to type in event space, they're going to type in the product. And most likely, winning that ad space is Amazon, is the
Right.
eBay, is those.
Right.
So I don't see you standing a chance. That's just my opinion when we start thinking like that. Like for me, it always leads to what is that next generation doing? Not what I'm doing and not what I do.
Mhm.
So when I see the jobs are gone and I see the crime is going up, and I hate to be thinking dystopic or anything, but I feel like the door's closed because the opportunities that were there to be able to do the things that you're saying, which I agreed with once upon a time. But I think we're so far, technology and everything is so far ahead that the people who were able to do those things were us. We were the ones who was getting up off our ass going, yo, we gonna go do this, we gonna do that. And now we think they got the same, we think they can do the same because they might have the same drive, but they don't have the same places. When we wanted a job, we would go to the chief. Those who remember the paper, the chief. We would
Mhm.
go to the actual stores to go to jobs. We would go fill out applications. Those things don't exist no more. Going on
Right.
people look for work, want ads, going down to the stores and going, I'm gonna fill out an application that doesn't exist no more. Having those connections with nepotism with somebody in the family or somebody. So my thing is just like buying real estate. We had opportunity to buy real estate very cheap, like not cheap, but cheaper than what it is now. And our salaries could have got us a single family home, a duplex. One person salary could have supplied the household. They don't have that opportunity. They're not paying that much. They don't have pensions. So how do we tell that generation to get tough, scrap up your boots, go become resourceful when all the resources are not there like it was